Are there different kinds of data out there that we're just not leveraging? A healthcare organization needs to appear as a single entity. Patient of 2020, one of the things is the ability to see where I'm at in all of this process. If I sent in some blood work to get tests, knowing exactly when my results are going to come, where they're at, having visibility to where the hospitals are, what the wait time is in ER, visibility or transparency to operations, to my status, to the services that I'm receiving, to the costs that I'm spending to get those services. So instead of me coming in when I'm sick, what are those things that I should be doing to avoid getting sick? And how is my healthcare provider helping me do that? Really a proactive relationship between the healthcare institution and yourself. Wearables, things like Fitbit and Nike Fuel Band or Nike Plus, the ability to monitor essentially metrics about yourself. And then you move into specifically the healthcare arena, and all of a sudden you're able to do these things remotely, away from the healthcare facility, in your home, out in the field, really in any number of places. You're helping the consumer be healthy before they actually need to come in, which of course everybody wins. At the end of the day, healthcare doesn't change from the outcome standpoint. But the speed at which we do it, where we do it, how effective it actually is, those are the kinds of things in the background that will change.
ಸೊ ನಮಸ್ತೆ. ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನೋ ಮೆನಿ ಆಫ್ ದೆಮ್ ನೋ. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕನ್ನಡ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತಾ? ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಚೂರು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ಸೆಟ್ ಎ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್. ರವೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರವೆ ಇದೆ, ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಇದೆ, ನೀರಿದೆ, ಗೋಡಂಬಿ ದ್ರಾಕ್ಷಿ ಇದೆ, ಕೇಸರಿನೂ ಇದೆ, ಸ್ಟವ್ ಇದೆ, ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ಆದರೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಸರಿ ಬಾತ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕು. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಕವಾಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಕೇಸರಿ ಬಾತ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಬೆರೆಸಿ ಹದವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡೋವಂಥವ್ರೊಬ್ಬರು ಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಭಾರಿ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ಆಗಲೇ ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೇಸರಿ ಬಾತ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕೋದು. ಇವತ್ತಿಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಜನ ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರ, ಪ್ಯಾನಲಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೇಸರಿ ಬಾತ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೇಸರಿ ಬಾತನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಮಂಜುನಾಥ್ ಭಂಡಾರಿ ಅವರು ಅದ್ಭುತವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪೋಡಿಯಮ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಐಡಿಯಾ. ಕೇಸರಿ ಬಾತ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ತಿಂದೇ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಪ್ರಯೋಜನ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗೆ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಂಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ಟಿವ್. ಯುವರ್ questions, your suggestions, your concerns are very, very important for us to have a very successful discussion. So with us we have the eminent Professor Byrappa, who has handled several students, so he knows the in and out problems. Then we have our Dr. Anand Venugopal, who is a well-known doctor at the KMC. He will be able to address a lot of issues. Then we have my colleague also, Professor Dipshika Chakraborthy. She works at the cell level. She is in the microbiology. She can give her perspective. And then today, health cannot be dealing it from insurance. So it is an integral part. The moment you say health, insurance will be the next word. If somebody says health dash, we will write insurance. So from the insurance, we have our Kamlesh Manuja, and myself is Omkar. I have been working on yoga and biomechanics, such related things. And now let me start with a very simple question to our other co-panelists. First, let me start with a simple question. Very briefly, I would request our panelists to answer one question. What, in your perspective, is health, especially applicable to the youth? Because I see a lot of youth here. That is our purpose of coming here is to set a forum for what is this concept of health for youth. and I will begin with none other than Professor Byrappa.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Omkar.
So I think you need a mic.
Well, all of us know what is health. For a layman, health is the wealth. And health is our not only the wealth but also the life. Without health, there is nothing, and we are dead. This is in terms of the layman's definition. Health is wealth, all of us know. But scientifically, how to have this health? Just now, Professor Omkar mentioned in the beginning in Kannada how nice it is to have a blend of various ingredients to prepare kesari bath. Now we have here different ingredients, I mean people, different panelists from different disciplines. I am from the area of nanotechnology, and I started my career with crystallography, then moved to crystal growth, and as a part of material science, I am in nanotechnology and dealing with the drug delivery and drug targeting. And I do work on the biomolecules and biological or biosynthesis of these nanomaterials and using these nanomaterials in health applications. So that is how I am here. So we have, as Professor Omkar mentioned, sugar, suji, and various other ingredients to prepare pineapple. So we have specialists from different disciplines, including the insurance field. You know, when I first went to US in the year 1980, as a tourist traveling with two of my friends from the Moscow State University, we three went to travel around US and Canada. My friend's brother, when we first landed in Austin, Texas, before boarding his car, he asked, "Do you have health insurance and travel insurance? Without that, I can't take you in my car." So that is how the importance of health and the insurance have been understood in the present day life. And likewise, we have the other panelist, Dipshika Chakraborthy, who works on the molecular biology, and that is very closely related to what you heard just now, a lecture by Professor Ada Ionat, a Nobel Laureate in crystallography. And there you understood the importance of the biological molecules, how you can synthesize these biological molecules and arrange them and ask them to do a particular work. Well, when I was in US during 1999 and 2001 as a visiting professor at the Rutgers University, that was the period when you could see a placard posted in front of all the laboratories saying that today I can tell an atom where to go and what to do. and that is very relevant today with the specialists like Mrs. Professor Chakraborthy. We can design the drugs to perform a particular function in our body to cure various diseases. And we have a doctor to handle all these, what scientists do. Professor Anand Venugopal from the KMC. So this is how a blend of different specialists here in this panel to discuss about the importance of health in the modern context. So, for the question which was asked to me, I say health is our wealth, and it has to be understood very systematically, and an awareness has to be given to each and every one, irrespective of the age.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we will come back to you. So very quickly, now because we are running short of time also, in the meanwhile I request if you youngsters have any questions, please write and give it to the desk so that we can also take it up as a part of our discussion. And now to look at one is Professor Byrappa gave a telescopic view of health. Now we will get the microscopic view of health from Professor Dipshika. Very quickly, how do you define health?
I'll be very short. So if wealth is lost, nothing is lost, but if health is lost, everything is lost. So we work with very smart organisms, that is microbes, and trying to develop vaccine. But every time we encounter them, I really feel like stepping into the shoes of a pathogen. How intelligent that they can be with few thousands of genes in them that can outsmart us with 30,000 genes. This is something, this evasion strategy is something which is mind-boggling, and only if we understand that can we be able to design something much better to combat infectious disease. Thank you.
Yeah. Now to take a perspective, yes, the moment we encounter any ill health, naturally we run to a doctor. And well, we have none other than Dr. Anand Venugopal, who is a busy practicing doctor at the KMC. And I would request him to quickly define what is health.
Am I audible? Good morning, everyone. Question of what is health is a very encompassing question. I would, seeing the audience of more of students, I would actually more concentrate on preventive health. And I feel that is the need of the hour. I don't like you people coming into the hospital with ill health. As you know, prevention is better than cure. So, in my opinion, seeing the audience here and the large number of students, my perception on preventive health and what you need to do not to get into a situation where you lose your health and come to the hospitals and land up paying huge amounts of money. As you know, the healthcare delivery system in our country, unfortunately, we are not in a position to be catering to the community needs. So that is the bare truth. And in my opinion, so the healthcare delivery from the primary healthcare level needs to be improved, which unfortunately is lacking in most parts of the country. Maybe not in our district since we are a little more advanced, but this is some area which we need to introspect. And coming to the students, if you see, earlier all the thing was to only directly ape the West, what we are doing now. And that's why we are getting into this problem of having a lot of junk food and lack of exercise all the time on the gadgets. And this is leading to conditions like obesity and depression, which is a significant problem in the younger age group. So before the diseases used to manifest at 45 and 50, unfortunately these kind of diseases are manifesting much earlier now at 25 and 30. And there is a reason for this because of our lifestyle modifications, what we have done aping the West. And if you see the literature and what is happening all over, the West are actually aping India, or they are looking this side. And if you see, they are all gone vegetarian and green and everything, whereas we are in the reverse direction. So my advice to this young dynamic audience will be to see what has been passed down from our traditions and history, and try to emulate those things instead of directly trying to copy the West and spoiling our health. This is my perception of...
Thank you. I think we will come back again. Now, you walk into any corporate hospital, you go to near the desk, they will not first ask you what is your name, what is your disease, nothing. But they will ask you which insurance do you have. That is their first concern, what insurance they have. And insurance companies are the one which always want us to remain healthy after we take their package, of course. So, in any case, let us hear from the man in this helm of insurance affairs, Kamlesh Manuja. What is his perspective? Very briefly, what do you think is health?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. And it's an honor to be surrounded with, a panel of doctors and esteemed professors who's shaping the entire generations here. As Dr. Omkar talked about, to me, health is nothing but, if you really go through, the definition, it is a fine balance of mental, emotional, and physical parts in the body, okay? So anywhere if you have a right balance, you are considered to be an healthy individual. If you really look at, I see a lot of students here, okay? My only request is, please go back, ask your parents, okay? Have they done a financial planning? Because if you really look at it, all of us, will do, saying that I will do a graduation from a school or a college. I will pursue a course, I will do a retirement, I will do wealth accumulation. But if you really look at it, health as a kind of, in terms of important stuff which is often ignored. Why do I say it? If you really look at, if you're unhealthy, the amount of goals or the targets which you have set upon, you'll not be able to achieve it. Because if it is today in a financial planning in our country, we actually, health doesn't come even in the part of the financial planning. And if I were to get a show of hands, large part of the people have not considered health insurance as an important element as a part of financial planning. So that's ironical because, as a result, less than 10% of our population is covered in any form of health. It's not that people don't value it, but people take it for granted that I want to achieve larger goals before I were to fall sick or, require any form of health insurance. So my honest request is plan for, while all of us are young, all of us are healthy, please make sure that you get into a health insurance so that if there is any calamity which comes in, with an increasing longevity, health is going to be very, very critical and is actually going to be an enabler to achieve a larger goal, what you have set for yourself and your family. Thank you.
There are a lot of questions, so I request the panelists to be very, very brief. But here is an interesting question. This is something that all of us wish, but none of us ask boldly. But our Dr. Shankar Prasad is bold enough to ask. He is asking, of course, particularly I request our doctor, and both from the medicine point and from the microbiology point, to take on this question very quickly. Dr. Shankar says, I am keen to live till I am 150 years. The interesting question comes later. Can you suggest an available method which does not cost too much? So, well, doctor, first take.
No.
Very quickly.
I would rather look at the quality of life rather than the longevity. So I think if you are having a healthy lifestyle and going ahead, maybe the advances going forward will definitely take you to 150. But I doubt it in our generation and the next anyway. Maybe future generations may have the opportunity. But I think basically you should be fit. Otherwise it doesn't make sense whether you're 100 or 150, even 50 you might be out. So possibility is there going forward, but I don't think we have reached that level in our generation or maybe the next, maybe future definitely.
Okay, so first of all, we wish you really 150 years of very healthy life, and I hope that you will pursue your journey, maybe go for a hiking or whatever you want to do during that course of time. For me, the quotient of the health is very important when you keep your gut flora very safe. You know a lot of research about the gut microbiome, and we are what we are because of them. If we do not abuse our gut flora and try to understand them and maintain the diversity, it's very much possible that you are going to go a very long way without having a lot of metabolic symptoms and syndromes, etc. So in one word, keep your gut flora healthy.
Yeah. Okay, that's a very nice answer. But in any case, I would wish Dr. Shankar 150 years of full life, and please call me for your 100 and 125 years. Hope I will also join. Of course, one person who will be happy with this target of 150 years is this person, Manuja. He will take your insurance money and happily make profit. What? Quickly some answer.
No, as I actually talked about, it's extremely critical that one should enter into a health insurance at a young age, because your premiums are very, very low, affordable, and with certain products where the regulator is controlling it, there is some amount of favorableness which is given to a healthy behavior. There are a lot of discounts if one demonstrates active lifestyle, healthy lifestyles. So the trend is changing. So my earnest submission is enter into health insurance early, demonstrate healthy behavior, avail discounts, and more importantly, enjoy, in terms of not a certain amount of compensation with substandard lives.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So, from the yogic perspective, it is said that the span of human life is 120 years. That's what it is marked. So, he is asking for another plus 30 bonus. All the best. So, next question, I think it directly addressed to Professor Byrappa. So, it is very directly addressed. So, well, these days stress is a common thing everywhere, in every organization. In many places, the stress is because of the interaction between negative and positive value system. Level of stress is the major determinant of health. Addressing the problem of deteriorating value system is the best insurance to cover the health risk. I think this is a very valid question, and he is asking you because you must have handled several students. So, what is your opinion is the question.
Yeah, thank you for the wonderful question, excellent one. I congratulate that person, I compliment. Well, this is what every one of us, particularly after crossing 30, and when once you start holding the responsible positions in different fields, you start developing the stress. And you know very well about the IT companies, people, the staff working in the IT companies. They say, well, your lifespan is just 15 to 20 years in the IT companies. But people say, as a scientist, your lifespan will be 80, 90 years, like our Professor C.N.R. Rao, who is still very active and dynamic, even at the age of 83, and he travels around the world even today. And the reason is less stress and satisfaction in your work without more ambitions. Well, in my case, this, according to Professor Omkar, this question he says is very relevant to me in particular because being the head of the university in my day-to-day administration, I come across such stress, and as that person has rightly put it, this is mainly because of the positive and the negative values, the clash between these two, and it is 100% true. When the administration is going in one direction and there are people to pull it back from the other direction, Well, it is always there, and many problems I handle. And what is the secret of managing the stress is Professor Anand Venugopal, as a practicing doctor, mentioned. It is the diet and the physical exercises, and irrespective of the work you have or the workload you have on your day-to-day administration or work, whatever the field it is, but you have to devote at least 90 minutes for your...
I'm sorry to just interrupt. I just wanted to address, for example, this is, let us take any institution or any university level. See, there is one side, there is administration office, and there is the students. This interaction should be good. For example, the way people conduct exams, all these things, they cause stress to them. So here, I want you to specifically address how should be, even the administration or the management should understand the students from their perspective. It's not that always students are wrong. So, because you are so experienced with all your university, you handle thousands of students every day, I'm sure. So, what is your suggestion also to the, from the other people, from the people who sit at the helm of affairs, how they should also look at the students? Because today the world is changing so fast. How should we also understand them? How should we reciprocate so that we have a good ecosystem where the whole institution becomes healthy?
Okay. Well, it's a good, comment and supplementing to what I was about to continue with the words almost what he said. Yes, it is true that students have a lot of stress in their curricular activities, but the teachers also and the administration should understand how much of load or the stress the students can take, what kind of curricular activities we can have, and how much we can, and the schedule, the timetable, that is very important. And at the same time, the extracurricular activities are equally important to boost their energy and health and to take off their stress. So, particularly in overseas universities, I have spent about 16 years in different universities all over the world, and I have seen how the faculty members and the students work out to remove the stress from them in their curricular activities through extracurricular, and the time is fixed for that in their schedule. And like that, even in our, whether you are a student or a career, professional, or working in some IT industry or entrepreneur, all that, you need to devote every day about 90 minutes at least for yourself. And the remaining is for your, whatever, the career, whatever the occupation you have, the profession you have, the remaining is for that. But 90 minutes minimum in a day is for yourself to work out, to exercise, or there are different other ways of working out, not necessarily yoga, and playing games and so on, that would help. And a strict diet is very important, as our doctor mentioned. Stop eating the junk food. The Westerners are moving towards the Indian diet, whereas the Indians are aping the Western diet. That is not good.
Yeah.
So this is what I feel.
Thank you very much.
With that, you can very well balance. Many people ask me this, how do you balance? Every day I work out about 2 hours, for myself. That 2 hours is mine, for me. And the remaining hours, I work for the students, for the university, and for the stakeholders like that.
Yeah, I think that's a very good elaborate answer. I'm sure you will all benefit with this. The next question is, of course...
just one more moment,
Yeah.
let me just add one more point here. People keep asking me, sir, it's very curious, to understand how you maintain the calmness always. And my secretary used to say, so people come with, crying tears in their, eyes and shouting, I am going to blast, this person, that person, and I am going to complain to the Vice Chancellor. And they will be under such a tension, but when they go out of your room, office, they go with a smile and no tears. How do you do that? So it is because of the strict exercising and also meditation. It's a must to take out all these. I keep myself always, cool. Whatever the situation it is, I can handle pretty well because of that meditation every day.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's very nice. I think next question, of course, as a student, how can we remember the points which we read for longer times? Because one of the questions often we come across is, okay, I have read, but when it is asked in an interview, we don't recollect, or in the exam, we don't recollect. Well, I'll just, before passing on this question to my co-panelists, I would like to tell you something interesting about Swami Vivekananda. Even just about 5 days before his final departure, he was reading Encyclopedia Britannica, that is the 11-volume thing. He was taking the volumes from library, and he was returning every day one volume. And he was when he was returning the 5th volume or so to the librarian, and she asked, what Swamiji you are taking and returning? You are simply taking and returning, I think. He said, no, I have read. She said, how can you read this big volume? He said, you ask anything from anywhere. She was also curious. She opened some page. Apparently, she asked something, and he said exactly whatever meaning was there. He was able to say. So this is what I think the focus. Whatever you read, if you love and read, then the remembrance pattern is different. I think I'm sure. But from the medical perspective, we will take a quick answer from Dr. Anand.
I think basically whatever you are reading now in whichever subject, you should have the passion to understand the subject and read it for the sake of understanding. There are two ways. One is to read for the sake of understanding and comprehending it completely, and one is for the examination. If the thought process is only exam oriented, probably you'll get into trouble. So you'll have to prioritize and see how best you can understand the subject, which may be better to retain going forward. I'm sure Professor Vice Chancellor Sir will be able to give more inputs on that, but that's what I used to do.
That's nice.
No,
Well,
study with passion, with love, definitely there won't be any stress. If you don't have interest, then it's
I'll come back to I have a question for you, relevant question. Before that, we will just ask from the microscopic level, what is this memory all about?
Okay.
I think none other than Dipshika can answer this. What happens at the fundamental level? What is this memory?
Memory. So you have something known as a short-term and a long-term memory. Now this question comes to me very often because I teach microbiology, and the UG students who left biology long time back, they said, are you going to ask us name of microorganisms? We cannot remember. Escherichia coli, Staphylococcus aureus. How do we remember these big names? So this recall response is something which I understand. It is difficult for some people to memorize the long-term memory versus short-term memory, and there are a lot of chemical signals which play an important role, the neuronal signaling, the chemical transmitters, which will affect your long-term and short-term. But to tell you in one simple sentence, if you read and you have your own way to decode, I will give you one small example. There is kind of recall response will come very automatically because you have understood it and you have learned. So I think one can practice this way, but it has to be a self way. How do you decode whatever you are reading in your own way, in your own fashion, schematically? So you can do that. It's not very difficult.
Yeah, I will have a direct question for Professor Byrappa, because I can understand the motive behind this question. Are our exams becoming more memory demanding than demands on our understanding? What is it? Are our exam systems becoming more memory demanding than understanding demanding?
Yeah, it's a very beautiful question. What we have here is exactly, based on our memory. Of course, you need to understand to keep that in your memory. without understanding the concept or the phenomenon, it's very difficult to memorize for a long time. Otherwise, it becomes just mugging up, whatever is there, and that's short-lived. So understanding is always good, even if but the exams are, unfortunately, what we have is a type of, written exams, 90 minutes or, 120 minutes, or even some exams are for 3 hours, and practical exams are for about 4 hours, even in the chemistry departments or biology, something like that. Our examination patterns are like that, what to do. But overseas, it's different. I have experienced different types of examinations abroad in US, in Russia, in Japan. That there it is more of interaction between the teacher and the students, and it's a day-to-day evaluation system, and the teacher is very honest. Then only we can, if the teacher is honest, then we can have this kind of day-to-day evaluation, and this evaluation takes place right in front of all the students, and at the end of the day you will know where you stand, and the teacher can give examination or test any day at any time. But here the tests are scheduled. We have the timetable for the tests. In one semester there will be 2 tests, C1 and C2, like that, and C3 will be the final examination, semester examination.
Yeah, I think
so like that. This is something different in India unless we change
Yeah.
this. But to change that, the teachers should be very honest in their profession.
I think
it is very difficult.
he has hit the last nail on the system. It's very true that unless we have honesty and integrity, it's very difficult. Very next question is again another interesting. How mental sickness can affect our health? Well, to answer from our perspective, Vedic text does not look the body as made up of some bones and muscles, nerves, etc. We have a system where we are called as 3 shariras: Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira and Karana Sharira. And one of the main components of Sukshma Sharira is mind. And it is well written, well established that the state of the mind has an impact on the physical health also. I think that is the concern. The state of mind is very important. There is absolutely no doubt. If the answer is, does it affect? It does affect, undoubtedly. Now even the medical system agrees with all these things. But before going to any such serious answers, I would like to take on Mr. Manuja first. In your insurance forums, we always see, we cover cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, so many things. But do you cover also things like depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, etc.? Do you look at mental sickness as a problem for insurance or not? Very quickly.
Yeah. No, so the way, the current ecosystem is devised, today, any mental illness, it's not considered as covered as a part of the health insurance. And the reason is there is not enough amount of data which is available to demonstrate by a stream of medical ailments basis diagnosis. What should be the length of stay? What should be the overall cost of treatment? And once I think there is enough amount of expertise available, and same applies to alternate medicine to an extent, there is a beginning which has happened on Ayush treatment which is being covered as a part of health insurance. But I think, there is a lot amount of deliberation on mental illness, dental, on Ayush as a treatment to offer a comprehensive coverage. I think there is a good amount of collation happening, and very soon hopefully you should see some part of it getting covered in health insurance policies.
Yeah, that's good. Now, let me, of course, obviously I should look at Dr. Anand. What is this relation between mind and the body, which is fairly well accepted, but very quickly can you sum up to impress upon the students that yes, if you want to be physically healthy, you have to take care of your mental health. There is absolutely no doubt. But from your perspective, do you want to add anything more emphatic on this point?
Yeah, definitely, especially when in this age group, probably the onus should be on all-around development of the person, whether it's a guy or a girl. All-around development means other than your curriculum, participate in extracurricular activities. Single sport, I mean, it can be extracurricular in the form of musical events or drama or some other societies, or sports, that is individual sports or team sports. So basically, I think the concept is a healthy body and a healthy mind. So it has been shown by so many studies that the hormones which are released from the brain, which affect all the organs of the body, are synchronized in such a way to optimally be useful when you are in the best of your physical health, well-being. So I still would dogmatically encourage all the students here to lead a very healthy lifestyle and take part in curricular as well as extracurricular activities. I am sure the overall development of you as a person or your personality will be enhanced by it.
Look at from the, of course, everything is, when you go to the hardcore, everything is a cell. So here is the Professor Dipshika who works at that level. Very quickly now, what is your answer for this? Mind-body interaction.
Mind-body interaction is very important. Mental well-being is directly correlated with your performance, physical well-being. But my only problem that I have is, how do you understand that I am not mentally feeling very well? Even the anxiety disorder is a part of the mental, not feeling mentally healthy. So it's the most important is understanding and the diagnosis. If that is done, then the rest of this will follow. So diagnosis of mentally not feeling well is something we need to put in place.
Well, that's a very nice answer. Now I will have to come back to Professor Byrappa, because I come from Indian Institute of Science, where we get brilliant students, the cream of the students. Dipshika will also agree, somehow after they join some MTech program or PhD program, their psychology will have some problem. Maybe competition, maybe pressure, something happens, and we have a serious problem with all IITs and IIScs. We have these kind of problems where the students are faced with some sort of strange psychological problems. Now I will ask Professor Byrappa, from his vast experience at the helm of the affairs, what should be done to address this?
Well, this is a serious problem, particularly in the Indian Institute of Science and IITs, in such national institutions where the demand or the expectations from the students is very high. And I have seen similar such things, particularly in Japan.
Yeah, we have to.
And most of the students, stress-related mental, I don't say disorder, but a sort of abnormal, attitudes or peculiar behavior among the students, particularly, from the top institutions in Japan also. And they are completely, devoted to their studies and education. And this is purely because of the stress. And fortunately, we don't have such an issue in the conventional universities like the state universities or other, even the private universities, where the students have more freedom and also they have more flexible schedule compared to these. And we don't have such problems, maybe it is, I would say, in fractions. So in that way, it is related directly to the expectations from the students.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. I think this is the last question. Of course, all foreign countries are rising towards our yoga, but still our Indians are sleeping compared to them. Why? It is not really correct, because even in India, the awareness is quite high. Especially youth, they have put in the bracket. Yes, youth have to wake up to the realities of life. Of course, please do practice yoga. Yoga should be practiced in the right perspective. Even in abroad, you see, it is taken more as a physical system, which is not really correct. Just doing asanas and pranayamas will not take you longer. You should really look at the tenets written by sage Patanjali, where he has covered the what is called as Ashtanga Yoga, which consists of Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So we have to look at the complete gamut of yoga and practice. Only then we can have holistic health and we can have a very beautiful personality. So that way, I think yoga should be practiced in the right perspective. That is very important. So with this, I thank all our panelists and I thank the Sahyadri Institute for giving us this opportunity to share our thoughts and ideas with you youngsters. Thank you all. Namaste.
Thank you very much.